Hey everyone, and welcome to an exciting installment of whatever you call it, of Kharak Cup number 12. Going to be the grand finals now in the upper bracket between AGameAnx and Descara. Galzian versus Coalition, the classic matchup here. The bans are going to be Color's Teeth being banned by AGameAnx. I think that just makes a lot of sense because you know we're playing vanilla. When that map comes up, he's going to have a lot of trouble with it. And then Firebase Krill being banned by Descara. A-game picks Tauren Crater. Now this I think perhaps is a little dirty, if you will. Like this almost could be like an insta win for him if you think of that, you know, that classic assault ship rush, which is just so hard to hold off from Tauren Crater. But Descara putting one salvager onto the RUs, perhaps he's trying to circumvent him with an AAV rush here and see if he can steal that back. Of course, Descara kind of the master of holds, so you never know how well a rush is going to do against him. Pick 2 going to be from Descara, going to be the Boneyard, so starting out pretty early on that map that he loves so much. Definitely his favorite one. Then we have Galzian Territories being picked by A-Game, that's of course going to be GT Alt, the new layout. Then Shallows by Descara, then Tight End Passage by A-Game, so pretty much what you would expect except for the absence of Firebase Krill, I guess I would say. Descara of course banning that one. Tight End Passage, that'll be an interesting map to watch. But I'm really happy that Galzian Territories isn't going to be, you know, such a toss-up matchup like it would be if we were playing on the old, you know, Tight End Passage. Or sorry, Galzian Territory. It's the one where one person has like insane high ground on the other one. We'll see how this goes. Obviously it is 2PC here from A-Game. A little bit different than what no, it is an AV rush, yeah, from Descara. So the nuance here that I should mention if anyone's kind of unaware of what's going on here is that we're playing, of course, on Tauren Crater. And because of the positioning of the dunes here, the way that, you know, you can sneak up onto your opponent's main immediately, and A-Game's going to wish he had gotten the other spawn. It's a little easier to attack the main from the other side, but that's okay. That dune there, this dune right here, kind of holding off, you know, vision from deep into this passage here where you can attack on the main. It's really hard to hold your main line against, you know, an assault ship push, and so what often happens is that the Galzian player will, yeah, do a 2PC rush like this. A-Game doesn't even need to keep it hidden. He could be a bit more transparent with it if he wanted, but this is usually just a wise thing to do with 2PC rushes. You know, keep it hidden. Don't let your opponent know what you're going for here. But you know, you get up there, you start doing damage, you pull back, you get refinery mode. Your opponent can hold you off, but narrowly. And it's going to take him so long to get the units off of your main there that you can just kind of, you know, you can just kind of take all the time you need to get up onto a third base, and you'll be in a favorable position versus your opponent. It's really hard to deal with it as the defender. But like I said, Descara kind of, you know, the master of holds, if you will, so we'll see what he's able to pull off here. A-Game's starting to produce armored units here. Actually, from the wrong production cruiser, I'd say this guy's the one who needs to be building one now. And he will. There's always a risk a production cruiser could be killed here by the AVs, but I think A-Game's got this one covered. Descara definitely, I think, aware of like what's going on here. You can see the AV push kind of caught A-Game off guard. I think this AV here ought to pull off and try and help on the defense, but it's tricky because he just is going to do so little damage to these assault ships. Once armor 1 comes out and they have 9 armor, it's just going to take way too long to kill these things with AVs. So Power Reserve 1 comes out now from Descara. That's probably a wise choice. The other option is like railguns, but it's going to take so long to get there. This obviously is going to allow the carry to do a lot of damage to the armored units when they get to the base. Assault ship is here, but there's actually a base runner that could set down a turret. That's an interesting idea. You know, potentially Descara could find a way into the base using that base runner there actually, and blow a hole in the defense using that turret, see if he can find a way to push actually on this side, which would totally take the wind out of A-Game's sails in that regard. Power Reserve 2 coming out now, that's definitely a big commit. It's not what you normally see. Salvager's very narrowly escaping, but actually Descara choosing to do a quick drop I think kind of killed them there. They might have died anyway though, so that was a pretty safe move actually to do the quick drop there. Just make sure you get the resources out of them in some way. 2 more Salvagers going to go down here though, so it's kind of like I feared. Descara losing a lot of guys here to this push. But he's pushing A-Game back and he's holding him off of a second here so far. And A-Game getting Power Reserve 1 too now, he's getting into defense mode. This is so interesting, the action just going on both sides of the map, but I don't know how well this is going to go for Descara anyway. I think this push here gets killed faster. That's my thought on this. AV's also not split terribly well, but apparently he's not actually taking splash damage there. I would have actually expected him to, so That's interesting. I guess the AoE is not as big as I thought. Back on this side though, refiner mode is all in the way, but it's going to be a little tricky to get that set up here. A-Game needs to mass up a bunch more assault chips so he can siege down this turret, but it's going to be tricky. So Descara's bought himself a lot of time here, and I think the hold is definitely messy on his side. You know, let's check out the units lost here real quick. Yeah, he's behind on units lost, and those units are eco units, so it is a little grim here, I think, but not nearly so much as it could have been. This is a very inventive way that Descara is trying to hold this push, and I think it's working. Production cruiser pops out. This is to tank the damage from the turret. Yeah, see that barrage there? Descara has to refocus onto the assault ships, but even so, he loses a bit of damage that he could have gotten on that assault ship there, so that's definitely the idea there. Very good smoke there by Descara. Gonna get a kill on the assault ship here. I think this hold continues, actually. Smoke comes down again, and A-Game just can't clear out this turret. In fact, if I were Descara, I'd push through to kill off this assault ship for sure. It makes it through based on the terrain. It will get killed now by this assault ship, but that's a lot more damage, or by this AV, but that's a lot more damage than Descara wanted to take. But refiner mode is finished now. The carry can unlock itself from that main base. Going to clear out this turret finally. And finally, A-Game able to take his second base up, but actually Descara with the support cruiser first, and I think he's ahead, Eco. Wow, I mean, I wouldn't have believed it. That's crazy. What a hold. I mean, leave it to Descara to take, you know, a hold that we pretty much consider impossible in vanilla, and somehow managing to do it. That's just incredible. Wow. Alright then. This is gonna be an awesome series, man. I'm really getting excited for it now. Because game one, I was like, it's Torrent Crater, you know, this is A-Game's like auto nope to Descara's, you know, game one attempt here. But no, it's not like that. It's not like that. And really, I gotta say, Descara very gutsy to ban Firebase Krill instead of this map. You wouldn't normally have done that, I don't think. AV's not gonna be able to be useful here at all, but they've already achieved their purpose. They can die. That's okay. Third base getting set up here. Tricky thing here is that A-Game is actually going to get his third set up really quickly. So Descara needs to match that with the support cruiser coming out like now, kind of. And you can see he doesn't have that on the way. He still would be a little bit behind by that metric then. But he's got an assault cruiser fabrication anyway coming out here. So there's potential that he can backstab pretty effectively. A-Game actually getting the blind anti-air tech too. I think that's a little bit paranoid, kind of, you know, because like if Descara is going for air, that would mean there's no way he's on 2 base at this point, yeah. And so he can kill in your production cruiser. That's actually okay. Like, even if you gamble and don't get anti-air because you don't expect it coming, like even if he gets a free production cruiser kill, like you're actually fine because you're still on 2 base to his 1. I don't know. Maybe that's not true. Maybe I'm just rambling here, but that's what I think anyway. I think the blind anti-air tech is a little bit unnecessary. Descara going to extract here, by the way, so that base runner is really pulling its weight here. I can't believe it. And they still haven't given me a name. In fact, he has no combat experience at all. He's a noob. He's a freaking pleb, man. Carry production upgrade coming out for Descara now. That's actually the first one. Often happens when you have these kind of scrappy defenses that they can't even get the carry production upgrade. One little thing, you should probably put on the power into the healing here because he wants to get these salvagers healed up, but that's okay. Oh, well, not now. There's an assault ship, actually. Really swift carry move out here is going to prevent any damage, though, and that's good for Descara. Extraction does go down like we expected. AV is actually going to try to chase out this assault ship here, but I don't think they're ever going to kill it, actually. And the turret can't be set down here because he has a cooldown before he can start shooting, so yeah, these units here are probably just going to get killed, but it'll take some time. Assault ship is scouted. A-Game saw that there, so turret goes up, actually. With the smoke! Oh! That's right, I kind of forgot about smoke. I still don't think this works. I guess we'll see. Descara would know, but yeah, no, this won't work. And actually, A-Game is microing pretty well. If you cross through the turret's line of sight there, he loses the ability to shoot at you because, like, he'll start the burst and then stop as the turret is, like, turning. So, yeah, that was really good micro from A-Game there. Not like he was going to lose anyone anyway, though. I think that turret was maybe to buy time, but it seemed kind of ambitious, to say the least. A lot of sand skimmers here, wow. Alrighty then. Power Reserve 2 actually coming out as well. I think maybe that's... I don't know, I'm thinking maybe that's an answer to like the assault cruiser, but no, he's got railgun for yeah, he's making heavy rails. Maybe he's actually going for the power play at this point. I guess we'll have to see. Probe and the LAV is going to scout these sand skimmers here. Descara is aware of that switch, but he does already have the assault cruiser ready. I don't know, I think he's pretty well defended here, but I'd really like to see him heal up these salvagers, but it is kind of a small deal. Let's see, this one AV here can definitely buy a lot of time, yeah, with that smoke, but he can't really fight this, because he targets the units, one at a time, so... But, the carriers here, actually. Yeah, I don't know, this looks like it's gonna be fine for Descara for now. I think A-Game really kind of has to wait until he's got these heavy rails out. Now, he does have anti-air coverage, which is nice, I guess, but I don't think he's going to encounter that this game. Counterplay option is not really there, actually, for Descara. I was kind of saying the assault cruiser would do that before, but it doesn't look like it now. But he's on 3 base, so is A-Game. Their armies are fairly... Well, no, they're not even, are they? If it weren't for the skimmer blob, I'd say their armies were actually pretty much even at this point. But, I don't know, I think A-Game does have the slight edge that way. Oh, and you know what else? He's actually got the big edge in the carrier power, doesn't he? Base Bird gonna get killed here. Maybe not. He still cruises in the position, so he's ready to protect him there. These two guys getting a little feisty. They're okay. Yeah, so Power Reserve 3 on the way now for A-Game's carrier. And Descara just now getting railgun fabrication. Yeah, this actually could maybe get a little nasty. Air's not an option. He's got the missile batteries out there already. Go artillery, perhaps? But I mean, that's tricky to call. Mag Accelerator coming up for the railguns immediately. Heavy Vehicles 3 is actually finished, and Railgun Armor 1 still for A-Game. That's actually kind of the saving grace, I guess, for Descara's army here, but... Yeah, the longer I look at it, the more I'm a little bit worried for him here, actually. Well, maybe I shouldn't worry too much. There's only like 5 rails here. I guess the bigger threat is actually just this carrier here, which Descara gonna see right now with this assault cruiser and be like, oh, let's get out of here. This could be problems. It's just nothing to hold this flank against it, right? So he's gonna have to send the rails down there, but then he's got problems up on this side, and there's not really very good ways to counterplay against it. So, I mean, you don't usually see a flank that's literally just a carrier, but it's working here. I mean, I think this is actually really good. Another probe attempt, but they keep getting shut down by these missile batteries, which don't get any XP for that, but you'll just have to trust me. They've killed many probes now. AC gonna go for some counterplay over on this side, but there are heavy rails, I think, that are gonna check it. You can see A-Game is aware of it. I keep getting them mixed up. A-Game's the green guy. I need to remember that. Looks like the railguns are committing friendly fire there, honestly. This actually is not nearly as convincing as it should be for A-Game, because armor is still out for Descara, but those are some big numbers discrepancies there. And the way railgun fights work between Coalition and Galzian, if Descara doesn't have the alpha damage like right up front, he's not going to be able to take that fight, so... Railgun armor 2 on the way now. This is AC actually bails, but he actually managed to bait the 3 railguns, which is pretty nice. But he's going to have to head back home, use that self-repair ability. Descara beginning to macro some railguns, but he still can't get back up onto his 3rd base, and this carrier is getting really oppressive at this point. Yeah, I mean, that's just tricky to deal with. It's slightly risky, I guess you could say, because, if the railguns come out and push it, maybe it could die, but there's enough power in there he'd be able to get out, I think, and, Descara is just too tied up here with the dealing with the army. One skimmer going to come out here to try and scout as well. How many turrets are there here? 2, yeah. This is tricky. A-Game's not really extracting too much, though. He's only got 1 base runner. That's actually what I would build if I were him. And you can tell, that carrier's not preoccupied. He could definitely do it, but... Because this is a moment where he's definitely got a total hold on the field. But it doesn't look like he's going to fall behind anytime soon. Descara has to get rid of one of these 2 sides of the attack here, or else he's just going to fall further and further behind. The railgun counts now. A lot to... Hold up now, so 6... Well, I can use the units tab, can't I? 16 to 12, yeah. And I think it's just going to keep falling further out of Descara's favor here as Railgun Armor 3 finishes now. Carrier leaves, actually, he chooses to vacate the area. I'm not sure exactly why. I think he actually could have stayed, but maybe he was just a little spooked by the fact he hadn't seen that railgun fight force for a while. But Descara is pushing out like this to get that artifact extraction at this point. Assault cruiser boosting out. Rail fight, I think, is going A-Game's way again here. We would kind of expect it to. The numbers are pretty much even on this side, and of course Gaussian Rail is going to do better in the even fight. Carrier actually coming back now because he sees that the rail force isn't there. Descara forced to vacate the premises. He's forced to vacate the third base once he sees that carrier. This is looking really rough here. I don't know if he has a way of getting back. It seems like all of the counterplay options have kind of been exhausted. Really good scanner here, by the way. Wow, definitely just getting tons of vision over, you know, the whole mid area. Agen's gonna know miles in advance. Miles in advance? Hours in advance? I don't know. Some unit in advance. Okay, if there's some kind of an attack coming down through mid. Obviously, he's got this side covered. He knows he's winning the fight over here, so this is beginning to look kind of unholdable for Descara, and I think, especially with mains mining outside, I didn't even think about that, but Descara is going to lose the eco off the main pretty soon here, so unless he can hold this third, he's going to be in some big trouble. Railgun's being allocated to this to try and fight off that carrier, and this is rough. Scanner, and again, a really good position here, dang. Yeah, well, scanners are good, man. That's like the one thing that Gaussian has over Conf, I feel. There's a lot of turrets here. I mean, this is a lot of damage output. These skimmers probably ought to back away. They don't have armor or damage upgrades anyway, so they're kind of an empty threat to those railguns, to be honest. One thing I really like about the mod is that if you get skimmers on top of rails, they like actually kill them. You can see though, that carrier, he's able to like poke in, get the damage, then poke out, right? And this is something carriers can do. It's tricky with only 4 railguns to try and hold that. I mean, you're not really going to. Skimmer rating starting out for A-Game. I would actually just prioritize the power reserve, but I can tell, like, I can see what the idea here is. He wants to, because yeah, once you get power reserve 5, you have the cruise missile and whatever. No, he wants to get the damage upgrades for the skimmers, make them actually, you know, a real threat to these railguns here, but in fact, look at the railgun count. Oh my gosh. Just when I say he's down for the count, Descara starts coming back here, actually. I think it's because of A-Game's power 4 that he got. This carrier really kind of getting routed. I don't feel like he needs to. These skimmers here in the wrong place, unfortunately, but these ones here are going to actually hit for real damage. I didn't realize that was what they were going for there. And so Descara knows he's got to evacuate. I say, no matter how many you lose to this assault cruiser, just stick it and kill the support cruiser, I think, because this is the time when mains are getting mined out. So if you can take a hit onto like that third, you're in really good shape here. So that's what he's going to do. Chooses to back away right after getting the kill there. This fight would actually go Descara's way, I believe. There's potential for high ground though. I mean, A-Game should be getting up on this hill perhaps, but power 3 now on the way for Descara. Skimmer's going to try to poke in through the middle. I don't think they can. There's too many turrets here. This probably doesn't turn out well. Yeah, I think he just has to leave. Definitely a cost-effective turret there. I don't know exactly how much he got, but it was a lot. I thought that was a 4. I was like, holy moly. No, that's a 7. That makes things very different. Okay. Let's check out the rail counts again then. That's only 17. That looks like a lot more than 17 right there even, but this is a lot closer than I thought, you know? This is a lot closer than I thought. Because at one point, it really looked like A-Game was just owning, but despite having this huge eco advantage, he's not actually winning in the railgun count, which is interesting. It's kind of curious. I wonder if he could make like a tech switch to interceptors working, but his carrier is very high profile. Descara would definitely notice that anti-air upgrade, or the air upgrade. The air tech, sorry, you know what I'm saying, when these things flip over and reveal the targets there. Oh, here's an idea. What if, so you tech the intercept, because that's relatively cheap, it's the price of like 2 heavy rails, I guess. And then your opponent freaks out and gets all this anti-air, and then you just don't ever build them. I wonder if that would work. Oh well, Power Reserve 5 is finished now. These rails awfully clumped up, so this could be problems when A-Game chooses to take the fight. Yeah, see where his carrier's going here. So the idea here is now I've got the cruise missile, well, the nuke, you know, the missile barrage. Now I've got another artifact. I've got a lot of power in my carrier, so let's get him into the fight, make him a frontline unit. We'll attack together with all of them on one front now, and see if we can smash through our opponent. And I think it'll work. That's my prediction, honestly, right now. I really hope this one goes to 5 maps. This is going to be a really cool series here. I say that because you can tell already from game 1 that both players are really playing in their prime here. Cruise missiles behind, railguns are in front. I guess the idea, well, maybe he missed actually, but I think the idea here is that the sandscammers forced them in. I don't know, that's a little bit disappointing though. I feel like the nuke is just off a little bit. Descara as well with power 4 finished. He's going to be starting 5 any second now. I feel like he probably should be already. Oh, Assault Cruiser here. He's getting some real damage in. He's going to be killed by rails now, probably. One more volley. Yeah, that'll do it. That's a lot of damage right there. Now that's a lot of damage! Carrier just going to come flying in here. He's just power sliding now. He doesn't have enough power in the speed really to back out of that one. He wants to take the fight. He knows he wants it. Here comes Descara's carrier with a lot of power in it. But, I don't know, it looks like A-Game took that pretty well. 13 to 14 now is the railgun count. Artifact gets denied there. Not like that was going to extract anytime soon, but they were nice for Descara to keep those kind of pocketed. And Descara's got other problems anyway. Basemen are going to start extraction here, and that would be the GG artifact right there. So, but Power 5 is on the way. I mean, this could still swing over. I really wish that cruise missiles weren't in the game, honestly, but it can still be exciting, I suppose. It's all going to come down to it, I think, because I don't think Descara takes the rail fight. He can't kill this carrier right now. Oh, another Gaussian missile barrage is ready already. This nuke is going to have to be pretty much golden here. Is he going to fire on the... Yes, the carrier blocked rail. No, it's going to be off. This would have been the target here, because they were being carrier blocked. Still hits for pretty good damage, actually. Kills all the salvagers that want to retire, too, but the railguns are just gone for Descara now. Skimmers are here. Rails should be targeting Descara's rails. Once they do, those are going to be gone, and then A-Game can just sit on top of them and take the railgun fight, and that should be GG. Artifact extracts. There's one left. Gonna pick it up there. I think that's got to be game. Barrage is ready, of course. Ought to be using that here. A-Game's backing away now. I think you push here. You've got to have this carrier, right? I don't know. I don't know about that, man. I mean, I feel like he's got to have that one. Cheeky little. Is this turret dies? Yeah, this turret dies. No, this Navy here. Okay, so Descara's eco is actually safe. Kind of. I mean, safe is a relative term, I guess. A-Game really kind of threw the window there, because I'm sure he would have taken that fight. Maybe not. Like, maybe he's more experienced with this, and it actually doesn't work for the Gaussian player, but I'm pretty sure he would have. Gonna retire a production cruiser here. He sees that we're entering the end game. No value out of that production. This is a stage of the game that we don't usually reach. I mean, second bases are at 2,000, yeah, so we're like pretty close to full mine out at this point, but I don't know, just how does Descara stop that extraction? Perhaps he can get in there. He's taking Assault Pack though, and I think that's a bad sign. I think that means he knows he's got to just like get in there as fast as he can. Cruise missile maybe. Yeah, could he nuke the artifact? You don't want to do that though. That's like really bad times, I guess. By the way, A-Game, he knows where his carrier's headed. He should be taking this production cruiser over there so that he can like actually retire the thing. Because this guy is never actually going to get retired at this point. Yeah, he sees that now. For a little bit, he's worthwhile for frontline production. I'd maybe like put these two on the control group instead of this guy and then only produce out of those two. I think F4? Yeah, F4 selects all production cruisers. Or Rachel. That's what it'd do if you're Coalition anyway. Can this artifact be stopped here? Oh man, it's gonna be close. Yeah, no, I don't think you can. I think that's gonna be game now for A-Game. Yep. A-Game takes game 1, but in such close fashion. Oh man, this series is just gonna be insane. Hold on, let me load game 2 in here now. Which map was game 2? Boneyard, huh? Boneyard's an odd pick, actually. I'm gonna say now, I'm thinking about it. Because you know your opponent is gonna pick it, if you don't, right? I mean, Boneyard is just kind of like, it's, I think, both these players' favorite maps, so there was no question it was gonna be in the pool. So I don't know if you even really needed to pick this one, but I don't know, at the same time, like, what does Descara pick other than it? Kartoba? So, I mean, maybe not, huh? The Boneyard. Well, there's no precedent of unbeatable builds here except for the Conif Blast Drone Rush. Game 1 was such a real banger, though. I mean, this could go either way. It really could. Looks like both players playing eco here. I thought that was a turret first. No, that couldn't be a turret. I was like, what are you doing? No, you can't even do that. Never mind. But it's a base runner retirement from AGameAnx, who is going for Refiner mode first. Pretty greedy build, but we're going to see pretty much the same thing from Descara as well. Looks like it's 8 up, actually. Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's really greedy, but it's going to work, obviously. So both players matching each other pretty nicely that way. 8 up, of course, meaning he gets 8 salvagers into a support cruiser. That's the most ambitious of the support cruiser first builds. Probably. I mean, maybe there's such a thing as 10 up, but I've never seen it, so I think that would actually slow you down, because once you stop getting CUs, which are kind of the economy building unit, you kind of fall behind in that regard anyway. LEV Fab on the way. Probably going to see a probe launch any second now. Well, maybe not, but no, we probably will. We probably will. It might just be a little bit later than I'm used to. Yeah, there's the probe. Shit. There you go. So this is the greed build from both players, and they should be pretty much even here. Descara perhaps going to get RU salvagers a little bit faster, because with that probe he knows there's no aggression coming after him, he's not really afraid. Given game 1 was a 2 PC rush, which was kind of expected on Torrent Crater, I'm actually, I don't know, I'm a little surprised he was feeling ambitious enough to go 8 up, right, because obviously that's a little bit risky if your opponent is rushing you. But it paid off here. Gonna check out the carrier now, probably wants to see what tech it's gonna be. A-Game can't really stop this. He can maybe build base runners to try and like stop the probe earlier, or just not retire his, but I mean it's kind of... What? I mean, I don't know about that. Maybe, What the heck? I don't know, guys. I don't know. We'll see what A-Game's got planned here. AV Fabrication comes out first for Descara. Senskimmer here just going to scout the presence of the base. Turret gets set down, so we've seen Descara do that. We saw Strike do that in the in the semis. Maybe that actually is good to do. I don't know. I do not know it. Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. This looks bizarre from A-Game because, like, missile ships as your like main tech, really, but look at what's coming out for Descara. It's fighter and gunship, and we kind of expected this too. I mean, it's almost like guaranteed Descara is going to go for that at some point. Maybe this is actually good. It's so funny, and he's probably going to build them now too. Now, he sees AAV tech, he doesn't see air yet. If he stuck around, he would see it, but I almost think A-Game is just going to assume that. He doesn't really need to see it yet, you know what I mean? Seeing won't be believing for him. I think there ought to be a sport cruiser on the way here now. No, not even resource this close for it. So he's actually not making a third base here. And that means if A-Game can have anti-air on the field already, which by the way, this guy probably ought to move on to that base he's in charge of. But anyway, if A-Game can have anti-air on the field already, it's cancelled. Oh, the mind games are just getting too much for me, guys. Holy moly. How did Descara know? Oh my gosh. What's going on here? I need these two players to comment on the video to just like relieve me of my insanity, because what's happening? Alright. Do they just know each other that well? Like, that's crazy. I think the only explanation I can come up with here, alright, is that Descara was like, my probe is seeing no other units. Your sand skimmers are still by my carrier. You want to see anti-air. You want to see air. You must have missile ships already. And he cancels the tech. I mean, this is like next level mind games here, but it's working for him. I mean, look at this. Assault cruiser fabrication coming out now. A-Game with 2 missile ships that he's not really going to be able to use it. I mean, well, he can, you know, but not the way he wanted to. And he probably still thinks air is coming because he had to leave with those sand skimmers before he could really guarantee it was not on the table. He probably has his doubts, but I mean, I don't think he can know that. Descara sees the missile ships, he's just gonna be like playing on like peak form right now. This is crazy. I'm really loving these finals. My goodness. This is what I cast to see, you know what I mean? Like, this is what I want to see when I'm casting. Railgun fabrication on the way for Descara now. He's probably building an AC already. I assume that's what that is. You saw that tech, of course, right? Excuse me. Let me just slap my chest as if that actually relieves hiccups. Fleet cap 105. Do you really need that right now? Maybe he's going... No, he's going for armor 3. I always like over fleet cap when I'm going into Sanskrit rating or like siege cruiser range or something like that. Oh my gosh! Ah! 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 That was the last we ever heard of Bozo Cow. Anyway. Yeah, I always get over fleet cap when I'm going to go into Sanskrit rating or into siege cruiser range because it takes so long to get those techs, and then sometimes you find yourself fleet capped when you shouldn't be. This looks good, but railguns are actually coming out now with armor 3. And you know, this is vanilla, so assault railguns will actually never kill these things. It takes them 850 shots, right? Like, oh! Holy, I have not been drinking, guys. Oh my goodness. Whew! Anyway. Why does this always happen to me? Smoke gotta be coming out here. Ooh. Getting a little late. Well, I guess he wants to save it for the eco. The tricky thing here is that assault cruisers are really good counters to assault railguns. I think we need more units with assault in their name. Anyway, Descara is not able to use this guy to backstab, get insane field control, but he is definitely able to push off the attack on his main there. A-Game will do the same, but he did actually have to move off the base for a second. Railguns are out for Descara. These ARs looking a little flat-footed. I mean, there's like 11 of them. No, 9 of them, I can count. But they're not really going to be able to do anything, are they? Missile ship really not going to be able to do anything. Perhaps both of them going to go down here. Yeah, this one will be safe, but that one I think is dead to this missile here. Pretty close though. Oh my gosh. Artillery on the way now for Descara, as well as powers are 3, and that carrier is not stopping. Rails are coming out. Assault cruisers to cover the flanks. This looks like a good old-fashioned coalition timing push. There's 4 heavy rails on the field. There's 6 rails. No mag accelerator though. That's definitely going to kind of take the wind out of Descara's sails here. He's going to want to get that. Going to want to extract 2 if he can. And I think he can. Assault cruiser comes out here with the base runner 2. He should be able to get in there. Looks like he's kind of backed away though. I don't know. I think I think he could have just won the game right there, maybe. But it's kind of iffy. Power 4, Power 3, taking up about the same time. Looks like, it's not like it's not like Descara is falling behind here if he doesn't win right now. They're both on 3 base. They're both macroing up, you know. In fact, Descara is ahead on power reserves, so by a lot of metrics, you could say he's kind of winning here, right? Artillery cruiser fabrication finishes now for Descara. He's correctly faced, which is good. You never want to be coming in there with your backside out if you're going to be producing squishy units like artillery. Mag Accelerator's still not there. I think he's got to get that immediately right after Power 4 finishes. That's got to be a priority, because that's going to be a huge force multiplier for him. Holy moly. So Descara here, what he ought to do... Well, he didn't have vision, did he? If he had vision, like a attack missile barrage there would just dunk this army. That wouldn't have even been funny. But this backstab here is going to be really nasty. And what does he do about it, really? Oh! You got debated. But still, a support cruiser went down there. I mean, this is actually a really big deal for Descara now. He will kill off the AR. No, he won't. Totally. He's going to lose an assault cruiser for this. Worth it, right? But still. Man, alright. That's going to hurt his macro a lot, and the heavy railgun count's getting big here again. I don't know. I don't know if Descara can take this one at this point. That's going to be tricky. I mean, next we move on to A-Game's pick, Galzian Territories, which is a really small map. I'm sure he's got something planned for that. Artillery's out, though, okay? Artillery's out. It's tricky because I really want to see Descara win because I want the series to stay close and get to an ace match. Whoa. So that my hiccups can get even worse, right? Golly gee. Descara perhaps able to make counterplay with LEVs. That's an interesting idea here because maybe he can get into the side. Jeez. But I don't know. Heavy Vehicles 3 are going to want to be on the way here. A-Game really ambitious with this carrier, taking a lot of damage now. That's going to disqualify the carrier from the upcoming rail fight, which isn't good. Mag Accelerator is finished, which is what I wanted to see. Descara's carrier going to take damage too, though, because his railguns are kind of backing away here. And so both carriers get kind of dunked on by these rails here. I think Descara should... this high ground up here, right? It's not easy to make the decision, but he does have artillery is the thing. So once the barrage comes out here, there's potential to really do a power swing here. Barrage comes out, it's straight on those rails. And it's hitting for pretty good damage too. Well, not really actually. Sorry, I take that back. Support cruiser is super low. It really has to evacuate here, but I don't think Descara wants to relinquish his third. Descara's trying to get up on the rails here, but that carrier is just going to do too much damage to them. Uh-oh, that's a dead support cruiser for sure. Smoke needs to be coming out yesterday, but it's not even available. Oh, that's rough. I mean, that's 2 support cruiser losses now for Descara. If he could make some kind of really bold, like, power move right here, I mean, maybe, but I don't know, you know, what he does to accomplish that. Artillery was the best bit, but I think it went down, actually. No, okay, it's perfectly healthy, but... I don't know, man. This is tricky. This is really tricky for Descara. Power 5 finishes now. Cruise missile's ready. I guess that's probably what he needs to do, is land a good cruise missile shot here and take the rail fight directly after it. It's a big ask. Assault cruiser's in position to hold off this skimmer backstab, probably. But the main is a little exposed. Cruise missile launches. It's going to be money. Oh my gosh, look at this. Carrier taking a lot of damage here, but that's so many rails dead. Artillery is still out, remember. Descara can macro up his rails again from frontline production too. This should be a really big push now. Carrier production upgrade coming out. Oh, I thought that was there ages ago. Anyway, Heavy Vehicles Armor 3 going to be a good choice for him now. I think he wants to take that fight. He's still not getting Heavy Vehicles Armor 3 though. I think that's really the good choice here. Probe really needs to see this skimmer push too, but he doesn't see that. This could be bad. They're not pushing in on the right flank there. Of course, we're dealing with incomplete information here. Of course, the skimmers find their way in. Is turret getting set down? Turret needs to be set down already, but the support cruiser is evacuating. That's good. See, the turret is here, but it's not there. That's where it's really needed. I don't know. That definitely kind of takes the momentum out. I mean, that shot was money, that cruise missile. It was everything Descara needed, and yet it still just isn't quite coming together here. Heavy Vehicles 3, I think he really needs to be getting at this point. I think it's pretty late. Because it's going to mean a couple less railguns, but if you have even numbers, you're never going to take the fight without that tech. He doesn't even have even numbers, really, does he? Whoa. Look at the resource differential there. It's like 400 Cs left on the patch. 1200 left on Descara's. Now that's a little bit incomplete information because we didn't see it for like a couple minutes now, but I think A-Game actually has succeeded in getting a lot of mining advantage here. I don't know, cruise missile's ready to go again though. Can A-Game take another hit like that? I guess we'll have to see. The game's up, he knows about it now. Look at this split here. He's getting nervous. But that's good. I mean, you should be nervous when Coalition cruise missiles are in play. Power Reserve 5 on the way for A-Game. So we're about to enter the enter that stage where both players have these really powered up carriers now. Let's start defining some terms right now. I think this is what I would call the carrier stage, right? Or maybe let's call it the carrier game for consistency, because there's early game, which is like the opener. And then there's mid game, when the opener finishes and now we're vying for position. There's usually pretty few units out on the field at that point. A lot of games just skip the early game and they just move straight into the mid game, right? Because people go greed. And then there's the carrier game. No, then there's late game, okay? Late game is when there are big armies on the map and it's a big macro fight. And then there's the carrier game, when both players get like past power 6, and then there's the end game if you get one where the mains get mined out and then you have kind of weird fights going on. That's my theory. Skimmers here are unable to find an opening. That's really good for Descara. Cruise missile not getting launched yet though. He's kind of saving that, but that means that the missile barrage is ready, and it's going to be fired immediately on those rails. Now, Descara going to fire the cruise missile too, but it's a miss. Only kills one railgun. I mean, that would have been better used on the carrier, frankly. Rails for Descara are melting, but there's 3 artillery cruisers out here now. And it's another kind of non-resolution fight here, although A-Game lost a lot of railguns. Can that happen again? Oh man, I mean, both players used the super weapon, but we still don't really have a resolution on the field yet. This is weird. I don't know, I think A-Game is ahead in this position though. He seems to be having an easier time keeping those rail numbers up. These guys getting really extended. I wonder if this is an overextension. I don't know. Assault rail is coming in here to try and execute a backstab. I think this turret though and this assault cruiser are going to be more than enough to stop that. That's good for Descara. We get to see that he's mining out just now. I think we're now approaching the end game. This artillery going to do a lot of damage. Of course, Coalition can power up the armor and they don't really take much damage from artillery, but Galzine have no such ability. This is what Descara really needed in the last game, I think, but he couldn't get. Missile Barrage is ready, but there's no CUs for it. Cruise Missile going to be ready soon. Because of Missile Barrage on this railgun position here, Descara really needing to get away from this one, but the rails go down for Descara. Or, sorry, for A-Game. Suddenly I feel like there's nothing for him out on the field, really. These are assault railguns anyway, they're not going to have any impact here. And Descara has saved that cruise missile, he's still got it. Power's starting to go into the weapons now, and there's rails for him, none for his opponent. This is going to be a game for Descara. I thought A-Game was so far ahead at some points here. It really was not coming together for A-Game, but that should be the game ending. No, it's a miss! It's just too far out. I think the carrier dies anyway. It will. Okay, and Descara takes game 2. That was kind of close, though. There were 2 really big cruise missile whiffs there, which is surprising given the initial cruise missile huge success in game 1. Or sorry, in the first launch there. Oh man, it's tricky. But Descara does get that one. I mean, I think that was a big comeback win there. I really think that A-Game was on top at some point, probably at like the 15-minute mark or so. Just 5 minutes later, here's Descara taking the game. What an awesome series, and it continues on Galzian territories. Exactly the same number of RUs collected? Hold on now. That took a little longer to load than I was hoping. Anyway, here we go, GTL. Now, a very small map here, and this is A-Game's pick. He thinks it's still not the best map. It's so tricky, man, because, like, Galzian territories on its own is kind of really flawed that way. But this time the high ground is even, but still the fact that it exists and is so, you know, dramatic is kind of like... It's pretty extreme for a DOK map. I personally like it a lot. But I have a pretty good win record on it, so that probably helps. I've just got good memories with it, you know what I mean? But what I'm talking about with this high ground is, of course, you know, in Galzian territories, the map that shipped with the game, you start like here or whatever as the coalition player, or sorry, as the north player. South player starts here, and it's really rough because you can see like you're looking up a high ground the whole way. But if you attack early as this guy, now you're looking down a high ground here to get up onto your opponent's main. So it's just like, what the heck is going on? In this layout, we've got high ground up on the top here, and then it goes down into low ground onto the extraction. And what it means is that carriers really have to stay up on the high ground, armies have to stay up on the high ground. It's really hard to stop, you know, backstabs and stuff. The game can get a little bit wonky. Like I said, I like this map, but I've definitely heard, you know, A-Game coming out kind of against it, so... Interesting to see. This is a 2 PC build? No, we don't see a second production cruiser on the way here. A-Game is pushing out, though, with this production cruiser after retiring the base runner and getting some salvagers. So this is a little bit non-standard, I'd say. Doesn't look like refinery mode's on the way anytime soon. LAV Fab coming out for Descara here after Sport Cruiser first. This is a 7-up. I like that a lot because the map's very small. 6-up would be a little bit conservative, I suppose, but 7-up I think is going to be just fine. And really on most maps, I think you can hold 7-up pretty easily. Maybe Torrent Crater, 6-up is better. Railgun Fabrication coming out now for A-Game. This is going to do kind of like a Railgun 1 PC push here. I don't know about that. I don't feel like this really has too much potential, but we'll see what he can do. We'll push out here on the base runner now. Power Reserve 1 on the way for Descara, so he seems to recognize, you know, Railgun Fabrication, Power Reserve 1. Yeah, this is definitely a rush. I'm gonna get ready to fight off a rush here. Base runner's taking a lot of damage. If A-Game can kill it, that's gonna be really good for him. So obviously, you know, you need that You need that base runner for those turrets, and I think he's going to get it here, actually. That could be really impactful. A lot of players kind of throw away their base runner in the early game, but you can't do that in this high level because his abilities are so, you know, powerful. He does actually live. This is good for Descara. I think A-Game should back away here, really. Try and get refinery mode and make this kind of a fake-out play. But without 2 production cruisers, I mean, what kind of fake-out play is it, really? He is going to back away, though. Refinery mode probably going to be on the way in just a second here. This doesn't look too good for A-Game. I just don't think the early games really worked out too well for him. So we transition into the mid-game here. Turret is set up on that main. Descara might not even need that, but I guess better safe than sorry, yeah? Refinery mode coming out in about 40 seconds. I'm imagining second production cruiser is going to be on the queue in just a moment here. Now, the mind games that go into this, of course, is that you don't want to overbuild in defense, because if your opponent is actually playing eco, you need to be as well, but you don't want to underbuild, because if they're playing aggressive, you die. So, LAV armor too. Now, we don't usually see Descara play LAVs much, but that's actually pretty aggressive. Is quite a big turnaround from what we usually see him do here. This is not actually a big dune. Like, you can shoot over this one. Yeah, I mean, he should probably just push out. He kind of backed away from that dune, but the thing is, getting LAV armor 2, if he's not going to attack, that's kind of wasted. But there's really a big potential here for him to get some damage in with these LAVs. Well, A-Game is transitioning into the eco game here. A-Game seems to have seen the armor upgrades on the LAVs. He's getting Sandscammer armor too, so that's going to be okay for him. Yeah, it looks like Descara will expand up onto his third now. But LAV Assault Pack coming out. Actually, I remember one time I was talking to Descara about this, like why he doesn't really use LAVs much. Because you know Garmulator is like the LAV king, right? And he's made a real playstyle around it. He's been crazy good at it. It's because his micro with LAVs is just like godly, you know what I mean? But I was talking to Descara about it, and he was like, why don't you use LAVs? Because they're so OP in vanilla. And he was like, you know, AVs are just easier to micro. I'm just lazy like that. That was literally the reason, so. Probe not finding the skimmers just yet. He's going to be a little bit slow here on the defense. This could be some dead salvagers. Assault Pack is about to finish, though. You want to get in there, I think. You're on high ground, too. This is going to be a really good fight, even if A-Game tries to push up against you. And you can set down a turret if he's really going to commit. One salve goes down there. What's the units lost tab looking like? Remarkably low. Wow. Interesting. Support cruiser out for Descara. Production cruiser out for A-Game. Looks like they're going to get up on 3 base at about the same time here. So this is actually a lot better than I thought. And A-Game going for Honor Guard cruiser fabrication. Wow. Alright. That's not a tech you see often in vanilla. It fits here. Lots of LAVs, right? We know Railgun tech is on the is finished here, but A-Game has got Railgun tech too. He can get that when he wants it. There's a big commitment to LAVs being done here, and I think this could really work for A-Game to go honor guards like this. But we don't usually see it. It's pretty exciting. If you can get up on the high ground, especially, honor guards will kill LAVs like that in one shot. I don't know with armor. No, because it's only one. Yeah, it's alpha damage. It's like one shot. So I mean, you can't possibly protect that with armor unless you have like 100 of it. Damage 1 finishes for Descara. Big investment into these LAVs. Armor 2 coming out from AGameAnx. No, he's going to cancel and get fleet. Yeah, he's fleet capped. This is a problem with Galaxian sometimes, that you'll get fleet capped like that when you're going for upgrades, especially the damage ones, or especially rating is like 50 seconds, yeah. Honor Guard is on the way here. Probe can't scout that, so it's going to be a little bit of a surprise here, but A-Game really going to want to kill this probe if he can. He had a missile ship somewhere, didn't he? I swear he had a missile ship. No, he was getting the fabrication and then he cancelled it. Probe doesn't die, it gets out with 40 HP. LAV's getting a little jumped on here. They're going to want to boost, yeah? Okay, yeah, they boost out. Actually, what I would do, though, what I would do if I was Descara is, like, right there, start setting down a turret. Wow, those Sandscreamers did a lot better than I thought they would. But yeah, no, so I would start setting in a turret while the fight was going on, because if he focuses on the turret, you're getting free damage. You're probably going to... That's probably going to be cost-effective for you, and then if he doesn't focus on the turret, it's really going to be cost-effective for you, because turrets. Missile ship fabrication coming out here. In the mod, you can get away with honor guard cruiser anti-air in this scenario, but that does not work in vanilla because it's expensive as heck. Holy goodness, look at this. And also, it just does nothing. Like, it's actually really good anti-air, but it has a wind-up of like 3 seconds, so you never hit anyone with it. It's really bad. A-Game microing the approach remarkably well. Doesn't lose anyone there. This is really going well for A-Game. I mean, he's just kind of like... I know he's got the numbers advantage, but it's not by that much. And even still, he's really kind of owning these LAVs here. And Descara just keeps building the darn things. He's not really gone for any ulterior tech himself. I mean, Assault Cruiser Fabrication is the obvious choice here, I think. But instead, Power Reserve 2 on the way now. Once this honor guard is spotted, though, and the probe has not seen it, which is really impactful, it's gonna hit for... Oh my gosh. The LAVs could have just killed the honor guard right there. That would have been really bad. Oh boy. Do you know about this honor guard? I don't think he does. Oh my... Oh no! Descara gonna be like, hold up, my entire army is dead. What happened? Oh, what a hit there. Honor guards, man. I mean, you don't really see them in vanilla, and for good reason too, but you can get away with them, apparently. They're pretty good. Damage 2 coming out now for the Sand Skimmers here. Third production cruiser as well. And that is going to be a dead support cruiser. The entire LAV force taken out. Descara going to be licking his wounds after that one. What does he do? I don't really know. Rails, obviously, to counter the Honor Guard cruiser are a must-have at this point. You can start getting those. Honor Guard even managing to dunk some shots on the salvagers, which is nice. He's not really in any danger just yet. That was just such a nasty blow there. Let's check the units lost tab. Oh no. Crippling. Crippling for Descara. Armor 3 was on the way there, but fleet cap has to be upgraded here. So missile ships are on the field already. Clearly you can't make LAVs here because the Honor Guard cruiser just owned you, and I'm sure he will again. So Rails counter the Honor Guard. I guess just AVs or something, but it seems so anticlimactic, especially after having gotten all of the upgrades to those LAVs. This is kind of crushing. I don't know. This is not really the kind of situation I expect Descara to come back from. Then again, we've seen crazier things, so we'll monitor the situation, but this is going to be rough. Now, to be fair, the carrier can actually effectively block for these railguns here. It's going to start moving forward here. Move forward. Ooh. He's okay. He's okay. But yeah, no. So the carrier can effectively block for the railguns, stop those LAVs from killing them. But what do you do about your eco then? I mean, it's just going to be totally open, right? Rail armor 3 on the way now for A-Game. Power 4 for Descara. Yeah, see, this is what I was worried about. Yeah, to be fair, there's actually like 3 turrets that are going to hit these guys during their travel. So we're going to have a lot... No, he backs away from it. Okay. Well, I don't know. I think he takes that if he fights it, but he chooses not to here. The Railgun army can come in, though, and that's going to be really bad still. There's 5 heavies and an honor guard versus 6 coalition rails here. He takes that fight. Oh, yeah, he takes that fight. Oh, dear. I mean, he's on high ground anyway. That's the thing, right? So this army here can push forward. Honor guards are really good at clearing turrets, I'll tell you that much. If the fight between the railguns comes down, like, it's over. Because Mag Accelerator isn't even finished yet, let alone any of the armor upgrades, and he's attacking up a high ground here. So this is gonna be curtains for Descara, I think. As well as a double extraction on the back in case, you know, A-Game needed anything else here. He actually chooses to back away, playing really conservative at this point. I guess he doesn't want to overextend, that's fair. His carrier is pretty powered up. But I mean, I don't think he should step off the gas here until he takes the main. I mean, I think he can get it. Powers are 5 on the way for Descara now, wow. Alright. A-Game probably going to want to start teching those too. But choosing not to so far. LAVs are out, they're hitting for damage, taking out some base burners there. That's good, because you don't want these guys to extract further. Not really as impactful as it would be in like the Draki patch, let's say, but it's still good. Skimmer's gonna get up on top of these LAVs. I think, well yeah, Skimmers have got high ground too. But the LAVs have the range, and this is not a super clear-cut fight here. Cruise missile gonna be ready in about 25 seconds now. A little bit of overkill there, but that's okay. Better that than under, right? A-Game starts targeting that carrier. He's gonna hit for some real damage here. I think, ooh, Descara might just lose his carrier right there. But, like, 3 seconds to cruise missile. I think that's what he's waiting. Oh, he's gonna die. Yeah, that's game. Yeah, okay. That was kind of expected, but I don't know, Descara making a good show of it still, but that honor guard shot. I mean, ever since then, I really feel like the game was just kind of over, you know? That honor guard shot, man. I can't believe it. It was crazy. Alright, let's go into game 4 then. 2-1. 2-1 for A-Game. And what a series we are watching right now, by the way. $53-37. The Shallows now. Gonna be Descara's pick. We saw him lose on the Shallows in Draki Cup 1. But that was really kind of a throw. Like, he was actually ahead that game, I believe. I'll have to check that one out sometime, but I'm pretty sure. I think this is a map that I would give the favor, like the advantage to Descara on. We'll just have to see though. It's a base runner retirement from Descara, which means he launches the probe early. Probably going to go 8 up now, but that's not very common to see him do it. Did the probe just get struck by lightning? Did you see that? Anyway, not very common to see Descara retire the base runner, but it is the Shallows. He's feeling really safe, of course. But yeah, kind of the master of holds. You know, you usually don't see him retiring that base runner. He actually considered 2PC for a second there, did A-Game, but he chooses to go for a finer mode instead. That's probably the safer choice. It is going to be 8 up. And that probe actually not exposing itself too quickly, that's actually pretty cool, because, you know, you can't get much info from the probe at this stage. You can see where the production cruiser is, but you can't see if refiner mode is out, you can't see what tech is finished, etc., etc. So I think that probe actually not coming out is actually a good choice, because it could be a little risky if you moved out too early. This is about when the probe would come if you were doing a normal SC first build, so this is a good time to send him. LEV Fab coming out about 15 seconds out. Some bad frame rates there. I swear my PC is dying or something. I'm getting like 70 frames, and then next second I'm getting 20 frames, you know? Like, I don't know what's going on. It's happening in all the games that I play too, so there's something wonky. I should just run like an antivirus scan or something. Or an anti-Windows scan. Refiner mode is finished here. A-Game actually not moving his carrier out to the forward position, instead having this production cruiser hold it, which is a little interesting. AV Fab first from Descara, the pretty standard pick. Railgun's first from A-Game, also pretty standard. Fighter and gunship comes up from Descara as quick as you like. Carrier production upgrade gonna be on the way pretty soon too. Sandskimmer is gonna poke out here to see if he can scout the eco. Descara really wants to hold this off actually if he can, but I don't think there's any way he's gonna hide that. A-Game actually cancelled railgun fabrication, but he's gonna start it back up again. That's an odd choice. Whoa! Did you hear that too? Yeah, I was telling Descara earlier on his stream, there's either someone doing construction work above me or getting like brutally murdered. I can't really tell. Anyway, fighter and gunship and carrier production finish at about the same time here. Descara not with a terrible float, so he's gonna have a good time here massing up some strike fighters. He probably could have gotten away with a support cruiser in the meantime though. But the Sandskimmer's in there in the perfect timing. Going to see that AA tech coming, that air tech coming out. Probably. Now I should actually mention, because the Sandskimmer was leaving, it's possible that he was like, okay, no air. Ooh, maybe he really thought that. We shall see. We shall see. This could be bad if he doesn't see it coming, but I imagine he does. Oh, you know, that'd actually be really good for us, because then we get an ace match, right? Anyway, pretty, how do I say? Pretty calm opener here from both players. 3 strike fighters gonna launch on their own. Gonna expose themselves to that skimmer out there in the middle. Checking to see if there's anti-air with that probe. Gonna come in here and try and snipe out that production cruiser, I would have thought. But no, he goes actually for the salvagers. This is going to be some good eco damage here. Looks like Descara not committing so hard into air as we normally would see. 2 salvagers killed, and he kind of thinks it's enough, I suppose. June! That's his name. Say my name. Railgun fabrication starts out for Descara now. So, yeah, not really overcommitting into air, but I think he's kind of undercommitting here. I feel like he can get more out of this. Maybe he's paranoid about anti-air, I don't know. He's coming around on the backside now. Seems like a bit of an odd move. Also, keeping these strike fighters airborne for a long time, though they don't have any missiles left, so that's also kind of interesting to see. AV coming up in the back line, that won't really mean too much, but it's a good attempt. Doesn't really cost Descara anything, really. Power 3 coming out from A-Game quite early. Interceptor fabrication finishing about 10 seconds now. That will be his anti-air option, I suppose. But see, what that means, right, is that, like, interceptor fabrication's not even finished yet. Descara could have come in, like, he could have docked, come back out, and then killed the production cruiser with 2 more strike fighters in this time frame. I don't know how A-Game knows that he doesn't need to worry about that, because I would really be getting, you know, missile ships at that point if I were him. Rather than taking assault ships, like I would have cancelled it and switched over. Precision bomber fabrication comes out from A-Game. Very interesting. Very interesting. Railgun fab is finished, mind you. So A-Game wants to take these bombers and get eco damage, I would assume, or at least some kind of damage. Take the rail fight after. But, I don't know. Well, I mean, I guess there's no telling how long A-Game wants to delay the late game. Strike Fighter's gonna come in here and hit the assault railgun, maybe? No, they're still backing away. I really feel like these things need to be used. Like they're not really getting any value just yet. You know, here come the missiles finally. Going to dump on that assault railgun. Interceptor's coming out already, but these guys will dock. Question is, what is Descara gonna do for anti-air? But A-Game doesn't want to show this if he doesn't have to. Still Descara unaware of the air switch. And if A-Game gets precision bombers, I mean, you could see a dead production cruiser pretty soon that way. Railguns are in position here, so this is going to be an artifact extraction. A-Game probably going to have trouble keeping this force for a second. Yeah, he could use air actually, couldn't he? But there's 2 base runners, which is enough to kind of pick off these interceptors anyway. Anti-air turret post could get set down too. Although not anytime soon from that base runner. Strike fighter's relaunching now. Now, Descara still doesn't know about the interceptors. I think they're going to kill off these strike fighters once they get launched at him. But he's kind of playing on his toes here. I guess he expects some kind of anti-air. I'm honestly not really sure how. I mean, are these 2 players just like watching each other stream or something? Like, they're making such good moves here. It's like they've maxed out the mind game potential. Support crews are making a little bit of a choke right there, but we'll get in position in just a second, I presume. Strike fighter's going to hit on one of the railguns here. Finally, the interceptors will reveal themselves. That'll be 3 dead strike fighters, I have to pretty much imagine. They can fight back, maybe kill off one of the interceptors. The fight back is not good. Missile battery fabrication comes out for Descara, so that's going to be how he chooses to hold this. 3 base runners on the field. Wow, Descara actually managed to get a kill there. Here come the bombers now. Gonna do a number on these railguns here now. I would have taken out a support cruiser if I were him, frankly, but he hits for good damage on those rails. I guess actually the reason is because there's a lot of pressure here, isn't there? These guys are kind of up in your face. You need to deal with them now. Oh, he's got the ammo upgrade already. So Bomber's doing a really good job of fizzling out the attack here from Descara. He's going to need to get a lot of anti-air now that he knows that there's bombers on the field. It's always kind of tricky to deal with. But he's done a really good job of denying this 4th base mining from his opponent, actually. And if there were turrets up here, that'd be even better, but they could get bombed out, of course, by the air from A-Game. Which is really bomber heavy. There's only like 1 interceptor left on it. I feel like both players is kind of agreeing to move off of the mid-tier air units. It's kind of interesting to see. Interceptor gonna launch here now. It's against this strike fighter, but once the interceptor hits once, the strike fighter can dock. Dock, dock, dock! Well, I mean, I guess it's only 1 strike fighter, really, but he should be docking this guy. Oh my gosh, he's just gonna let him die. Except he doesn't? I don't know what's going on anymore. Anyway, 3 bombers are still in the pipe, mind you. This could be very impactful for A-Game in just a moment here. Support cruiser anti-air is not going to be enough to hold off bombers like this. This base is really especially vulnerable because, you know, these air units are here. I think the interceptor should go out there and try and see if he can scout where the air is. Looks like bombers is going to be used on the rails instead. Really kind of overkill on the first rail there, but he's going to get a lot of kills here. But I mean, this is the potential, right, to kill off bases. It's not really being used that way. 3 missile batteries are here, by the way. Ooh. Bombers get away, but by the skin of their teeth. If support cruiser anti-air had been finished right then, one of them would have died for sure. Gonna want to micro the dock here too a little bit, I think, but that's not going to come out from A-Game. That's kind of a small deal, though. Probably not going to be too impactful, but the missile batteries get in range here. Oh, they could really kill a bomber at this point. Oh, the split fire. But he's going to fly over another pass, and a bomber will die here, I think. Oh, man, it's so close. Oh, that was, like, right on the dot. Yeah, he does go down, though. Missile battery chunking these sand skimmers, but it kind of doesn't matter. There's nothing to capitalize on the damage, so they'll just re-heal. Gaussian, man. That's how they be sometimes. Rail count for Descara is looking really good now. Those bombers have definitely taken their toll, but the missile batteries are out now. I don't know if A-Game is going to be able to deal with that. Power 4 on the way for Descara now. Railgun armor 3 just now coming out. Railgun 3 is finished for both sides, I suppose. I thought it just said high-speed railgun in service. I was like, what? This isn't Japan? Drawing a little star on the ground there, that's beautiful. When DOK becomes art. Get out of here, scanner. So, Power 4 finishing now. 2 artifacts on the way to extraction. Missile batteries probably got to back up. This is where the fight is going to take place, and they're not really covering the railguns just now. One of the bombers docked, actually. But I mean, what else is it going to do? It's kind of tricky to find openings. I mean, those bombers really had to take out the eco, I think, but they've kind of passed that window. Power 4 finishes for Descara. He actually had Power 5 available for a second there. Double extract is going to go down, though. That brings the scoreline to 4-0, and that's really kind of hairy territory for A-Game now, who I really think is falling behind in the series. Oh my... Holy goodness. That's like Game 3, but backwards. 4th extraction is out. Artifact extraction is now paramount. Power 5 on the way for Descara railguns and a beautiful concave, as if we were playing StarCraft 2. But this does matter, of course, because they have high ground. That's like the big reason here. Also because of cruise missiles, I suppose, but... Bomber's going to come in here and hit for damage so that the railgun war can be fought, but they're still going against high ground here. Missile battery's going to kill off these bombers too, so they're going to go down. I think both of them, in fact. Yeah. And this is kind of looking like Desperado from A-Game now. Missile railgun's actually doing some pretty good damage over here, but I mean, there's a turret set up on the 4th base of A-Game. He's not able to take that. Oh, missile battery from the high ground getting some really big damage in. And it's all just falling apart now. Army from A-Game is pretty much non-existent at this point. There's even a backstab going on. 4th base is denied by turrets of all things. Carrier not actually at low health yet, but I'm sure Descara is spamming rails and he's ready to push in now. Cruise missile is prepared. If he figures out the position of these heavy rails and nukes them, he could actually move in, but it's good to be safe for now. Doesn't want to throw this game. This is one he's definitely ahead on, and this would bring us to the ace match. Very important game right here. Oh, A-Game's carrier really low, though. But cruise missile's not on the carrier, it's on the rails. This is kind of the safer choice, because if you miss against that carrier, you've kind of wasted it. And he's definitely going to win from this position, so it's kind of okay that he doesn't get the kill right then. Power 5 in that carrier means he actually outranges rails. No, he just ranges them, but still, it's problems for A-Game. AV is doing their best to kill the carrier now. I don't think that's going to work. Actually, Sandskinner's in a really good position right here. The rail count from Descara is very big. Base friend is ready to extract. He can throw his eco at this point. It would be okay, actually. But he's playing really passive now. It was safe to fire the cruise missile, not at the carrier, but at the rails. It was safe to wait for the rails to be ready to push on that carrier, but at this point I think it's a little dangerous to not push. I think Descara goes in now. I think he wins from here. But he's got to be a little proactive. Artifact extraction is definitely a method of victory at this point, but I don't like how he's playing this one. Power 6 could be on the way, but from my experience, Descara doesn't really go for Power 6 very much. But I think in Juraki Cup 1 he really should have. I think it maybe could have won in that game. He is getting Power 6 now. Railgun fight going distinctly in Descara's way. He's got the high ground here after all. Missile batteries are ready with the mortars. They're kind of going to miss though. Well, you know, they actually get some pretty good damage in there. But the carrier will certainly have something to say about those sand skimmers being up there. A lot of turrets up in this position. There's like 3 of them. Sport Cruiser moves from the main onto the 4th. We can only assume he is mining out there. A-Game going to be doing the same at this point. But A-Game can't get up on that 4th either. Artifact picked up. This would be the game-winning artifact here. if A-Game doesn't just die first, and honestly I kind of think he will. AV's doing their best to push in here, but this assault railgun. There are bullies there. He cannot push in. There are bullies. A-Game's carry at 41% now. Power just looking really thin compared to Descara. No extractions, power 3, or power 4 that is. And he has to find a way to push in here. He cannot wait for the base runner to extract. I mean, no amount of Desperado is going to save him at this point. I think this game is well and truly over. Cruise Missile's even ready for Descara. But A-Game actually going to choose to surrender. That's the first surrender we've seen so far this series. But it does come down. Let's load in game 5 then. The ace match. And I'm really happy about that. Who's going to take this? Who's going to take this? What's the map? I guess the map is important. Let's check that out. I think it's not Kalash. That was banned. What's the other map? I'm missing one here. Tight End Passage. Right, okay. Who's going to take Tight End Passage? I need to come up with a prediction. I don't know. I mean, so A-Game is doing really well. Doing really well with the railgun macro as we approach the late game, right? And I feel like a map like Tight End Passage favors that. It's not too easy to counterplay around it because the number of dunes that you have to work with are pretty small. Once your opponent has control of this area, it's kind of like this dune holding you between him, like holding between him and you know what I mean? And if you can get on top of it, it's game over, right? And so I feel like Descara has kind of weaseled his way out of a couple of games using counterplay. Last game was different. Last game I think he just kind of got on top and he stayed there because of the bomber play from A-Game not really being particularly good. This game... This game, I don't know. If A-Game can be on top, I really feel like Descara is going to not win it. I don't know. This is going to be really close. I'll put it that way. One thing I got to say, very happy to see A-Game is not trying any kind of a pressure build here because Descara, of course, you know, the king of holds. We all know this. I mean, going into the ace match, kind of risky. You know what I mean? The problem though is that Descara, when he holds these kind of pushes, is like super fun to watch. You know what I mean? So I really actually kind of wish we were seeing it, but I think it's the right move from A-Game, not go for this kind of a. Not go for a rush or anything, and you know, allow Descara to kind of shine where he's really strongest. I mean, we saw in Tauren Crater how good he was at holding an assault ship rush. Like, there's just not much argument, I don't think, that you should try it on Tight End Passage. Although it is actually high ground into the opponent's main. Look at that. Anyway. And it's high ground onto his second too, right? I'm starting to think railgun pushes are going to be insane on this map. Anyway, that's okay. Turret is actually getting set down here already. LAVs can go back to the main then, and they don't really need to worry. A-Game pushing out with this production cruiser just to see. He did win the last game that he did this, mind you. That was Gaussian Territories, but it's kind of not because of this. In fact, I really thought A-Game had lost the early game in that one there because he didn't really get any eco advantages. He didn't damage Descara's eco at all, and he really slowed himself down a lot in that regard. Sorry if I'm kind of flicking around a lot, but I'm invested, man. Descara getting railgun fabrication, that's to tell that he knows that there's pressure going on here. Question is why, though. It's off of one production cruiser, going to make some heavy rails here. This could work, but it could really backfire in A-Game's face here. Again, like I said, this is kind of playing to Descara's biggest strengths as a player, which is that he's really hard to push back. Like, he's really hard to rush. He's like the king of holds. And then he's really good at, you know, pushback micro. or sorry, macro, right? And so if this fails, it's going to be over for A-Game. If it succeeds, it'll be fun to watch, but A-Game getting pushed further and further back. Second production cruiser's on the way. I really think he needs to retreat and try to set up a third base. LAV Armor 2 coming out now, so it's going to be pretty heavy into the LAVs once again. Assault Pack is not there, so they can't boost out, but A-Game going to try some counterplay against these turrets, but he can't push over the hill, so these LAVs have got a position they can fire from and then back away and just free damage, if you know what I mean. LAV Armor 2 finishes now, Sandscream Armor 1 still only researched. I think LAVs can just take this fight. They ought to actually push on and try to run those guys over. Artifact picked up here. Actually, the extraction is pretty safe, I think. And if it's not safe, you'll get the scouting information that your opponent backed away. But he's probably keeping that base runner back at home just for the turrets. Assault Railgun comes out. That's what A-Game needs here to make this push work. But Railguns are out. Descara can, of course, sacrifice second base eco because his opponent certainly doesn't have it. Moving out with that carrier now to step on that Assault Railgun. I think he's going to get it. I think he's holding here really nicely. And if this doesn't work for A-Game, this is going to be really bad, I think. Even coming off of high ground, the Assault Railguns are really good in vanilla. This Rail's got words to say with him, though. No, he does not get him. That's a little bit unfortunate for Descara. But he should be okay. He'll back up onto his second now. Refiner mode is coming out for A-Game, so you can tell knows what he's doing there. But Descara gonna push out with the carrier. Okay, because I was gonna say, like, why isn't he headed back and getting another support cruiser? But no, he's gonna back away. I don't know about this. This seems like a little bit of an overextension for Descara. And in a game where you really are feeling comfortable too, like I've just held off my rush for my opponent, like when the carrier was here, you know, just say, okay, let's head back. Let's see if a counter push comes. We can wait for a little bit, build some more rails maybe. And then if there's no counter push, then we go up for another support cruiser. We'll be on third base before him. This is going to be rough. Because, like, look, Refiner mode is still on the way. Like, if A-Game did this exact same thing, but Descara's carrier was here right now, he'd be, like, really winning this series. Production upgrade just now coming out. That's pretty standard to see, of course, when you're holding two base pushes, but one base pushes. But yeah, production support cruiser is on the way. Descara is not going to fall too far behind in eco. This is still looking good for him. But he needs to get set up as fast as he can here. Probably got to get AV fabrication quick here too. But he's never going to get pushed here. Yeah, his carrier's on this position. There's so many turrets set up that, like, pushing through them is going to be really hard, too. And the LAVs are pretty beefy on their own, so... Who gets the third base faster, then? I guess it'll be pretty even, huh? Because the support cruiser's coming out right now. Carrier's ready on the third base. He produces 2 at a time. A-Game produces 2 at a time as well. Yeah, it looks like A-Game's like a couple seconds faster, but it's not going to be too impactful. And now, finally, we move on to the mid-game, although there's a lot of Sandscreamers out on the field already, and LAVs too. This is a really juicy position, though. Up on the high ground here, Descara going to be hitting in for damage. It's a little bit baited here, though. I think he wanted to back away there. But the turret actually is in a good position. Yeah, I take it back. That's actually fine for him. Both the Sandscreamer and LAV numbers going to get chipped down here quite a lot. Neither player really deciding that's out of their favor. They just continue to trade for damage. Looks pretty even to me. Missile ship fabrication finishes for A-Game. AAVs for Descara. Missile ships, I guess, are kind of a must here. You're not going to have vision on your carrier, your opponent's carrier all the time. And if he goes for air, you need to have anti-air ready, so... But it's kind of a rough call, like you never want to make it and get the blind anti-air tech. But... Rail goes down there. The LAVs are in position actually to try to counterattack, but Not quite enough. There are assault rails here too, so that's going to be tricky anyway. A-Game going to try to pressure now with these 3 railguns here. Descara with Magus Sutter finishing clutch right in time. But he's going to lose some sand skimmers off the main here. Extraction comes down though, so power gets up into the range actually. I would have put it in the weapons, but... Rails are ready to take the fight, but they're attacking off of low ground apparently. And this is what I meant when I talked about my prediction for who I thought would win. A-Game's been doing really well in this kind of scenario where we move out of the mid-game into the late game, although this is still kind of mid-game I'd say, but we have a bunch of rails and we start fighting, and on the, with the position of the dunes here, if this can't be fought back from Descara, it's going to be really hard. A-Game might just be able to siege him off of that third long enough to get a rail majority and just take the game right there. And the positioning does not favor Descara here. He's not the attacker. He's actually getting attacked here in a pretty effective way. LAVs get up on top here. They actually will manage to kill off a heavy rail. Okay, they do get him. I was like, please, no. But there's like a lot of rails for Descara now, actually. He's actually sort of turning it around there. AAV's coming out as well. I think Descara, having gotten LAV upgrades, and almost all of them too, he really wants to stick on that unit, but AAVs are not a bad addition to the army. Sandskimmer's going to go for a backstab. There's like 3 turrets set up, so that's actually going to be okay, I think, for Descara. They're also scouted prudently. He knows that they're there. This base runner should die, but they can't push out with those turrets there. Railgun Armor 3 probably the next choice for A-Game. You know, Sandskimmers could consider coming all the way like around the world here, but not going to choose to do that. We don't usually see that happen on Titan Passage, actually. Triple production cruisers are out. 3rd carrier production upgrade probably ought to be on the way here. But we'll see. Powers are 3 instead. Railgun armor is at how much? 2. How many rails we got here? 9? 9. Well, once again, Descara is ahead in the power reserves, but A-Game's army seems to be a little bit more resilient here. I guess as the defender, that shouldn't matter too much. That's fine for Descara. But this is still going to be a stressful fight, because you can tell it's kind of building up. You know, tensions are escalating a little bit across the field here, and once this fight goes down, I think it's going to be for the tournament. I could be wrong, though. I felt that way about a couple of the other games, and they didn't resolve themselves as fast as I was expecting. Oh, he's on armor 1. Oh, I thought he was on armor 2. That could be tricky. That could be tricky. Artifact picked up now by AGameAnx. Headed out toward that extraction zone. Power 4 now on the way from Descara. Really prioritizing those power upgrades there. And the rail fight begins, and this is for all the money, I think. But the rail count's definitely going in A-Game's favor, I think. This carrier's got a lot of power, but he can't use it. Certainly not if it's even allocated, but... I think this rail fight is going really well for A-Game, but... Yeah, no, the LAVs aren't even going to take the fight either. A-Game gets an extraction, railguns are going down for Descara at an alarming rate. His carrier's pushing in here now, power reserve 1 on the way, but I mean, he's got a lot of power already. And Descara cannot step on these rails, there's just too many of them. Sandskimmers have broken through the line. Turrets are here though, railguns should be safe, but Descara at the very least can be pushed off of his 3rd. I think that's going to be game, but we'll have to see. Power could be allocated into the weapons, to be sure. But the rails see their target now, which is the salvagers, I guess. There we go, it's the rails. And A-Game's carrier going to start just kind of pushing its way in here, getting some good vision. Big health pool, it's going to allow him to take the railgun fight a little bit better. A-Game's focus fire is just not there, though. If he pushes here, he's actually going to be on low ground relative to these rails from Descara, right? I don't know what the Space Run is doing, but he did get an extraction, I noticed. Power 5 into the armor, wow. But that third base is denied. Well, we saw Descara make a good game out of this in game 1, but he did lose that one. This is really bad. And I don't know how he comes back from it. This is looking really good for A-Game here. I think the power reserves instead of the vehicle armor really just kind of did him in there. Power 5 finishing now for starting now for Descara. 50 seconds out. You never know. There could be a big power swing with that first cruise missile. This is one reason actually why I always advocate for the removal from the game, but you know, that's fine. Actually, it's not as many heavy rails as I thought here. It's only like 8? 8 to 7. That's a winnable fight from Descara, but it's also very winnable from A-Game. These Sandstorm is going to move through a bunch of turrets and LAVs and AVs. They're all dead. Oh, but the rails come in at the same time. Perhaps not, huh? Perhaps not. Descara desperately needs to buy for just a little bit of time, about 10 seconds, and then however the launch time for the cruise missile is. Carry going to be taking a lot of damage here, but he can tank it. He's got armor 5 in here. So his carry actually without a scratch currently. A-Game just can't damage the thing. And he's bought all the time he needs. Cruise missile's ready to launch here. This could be a huge power swing. Up it goes. It's close range. There's no dodging this. Carrier power is bigger for A-Game. Sorry, for Descara. He's got the frontline production. He's got more power. But A-Game's carrier is going to be safe. There's no way he kills it here. That's close, though. That's a really big swing of power. That's what Descara needs to start this comeback. Golly gee, it just goes on. I guess I was a little preemptive again. I thought for sure, you know, Descara was going to be taken out here, but he's looking pretty good, actually. It's all these assault railguns not really having too much of an impact, I think. Because I think A-Game was planning on sort of like the crack the egg strategy right there. And once the assault railguns can get through, they run through, they're no match, like LAVs are no match for them, they push into the main, they take out the support cruiser, you know, there you go. But Descara actually going to begin evacuating there, is that it's mined out. So he doesn't even really need to hold that position anymore. And we approach the end game. And this game a lot closer than it promised to be just a couple minutes ago. LAV's going to deny the space burner. There's no way this guy gets out. Scanner deployed at the last moment. That's nice to see. We could have a bit of a base trade if... Oh my gosh, if Descara just pushes out, because the assault railguns in the carrier here, he's not going to go in that location. These railguns here are turbo exposed. Look at this. Sorry for the brief interruption. LAVs have found the rails here. That's a lot of heavy rails, though. They're actually kind of having an impact against those LAVs, especially with the high ground there. The army from A-Game feeling a little trapped here. I mean, how did they get out? There's no vision. Perhaps he can make it. This could be a dead PC, though. I don't know. I mean, this is a lot of heavy rails, which is obviously causing some problems for A-Game, but... Or, sorry, for Descara's LAVs. I don't know, I think he really could have gotten some real damage in there. Instead, he's going to allow the army to escape here. He's going to allow these railguns to live. That's not good, I don't think. If you check out the forces on the field now, it's, I mean, 26 railguns actually, but only 12 are heavy. You got 7 rails here for Descara. But the area that he has to defend gets smaller and smaller. A-Game definitely going to be the aggressor in this fight here, but this one I think is going to go his way. Assault railguns, there's just so many of them. If if the rails for Descara aren't fighting the assault the heavy railguns, they're just gonna lose the rail fight. But if they're fighting the assault railguns, or sorry, if they're not fighting the assault railguns, they'll get on top of them and kill them all. I think A-Game should get this just by sheer numbers. Oh, I thought there were strike fighters launching. That would have been crazy. Logan getting caught out of position here. This is the kind of stuff that Descara needs. You need to back away those. The assault railguns crest the hill. Oh, you know what? Yeah, there's a lot of these guys. I didn't quite count on that, but the cruise missile could be ready. Oh my gosh. It's a miss. If it had been right here, imagine the destruction. These assault rails are going to take some heavy losses as they crest the dune, but the heavy rails are here to capitalize, and their target is going to be those rails. Power 5 is on the way for A-Game, and once that finishes, that kind of ace up the sleeve of Descara is going to be gone. Rails go down now for Descara. Assault rail is going to pick them all off, I think. Support cruiser ought to follow. And that's going to be the series. I think A-Game is going to take it. There's really no way for Descara to come back from here, is there? Surely not. A-Game playing it smooth, not, you know, committing his carrier into this fight, but he's going to get one support cruiser. I'm sure he'll get a second here. Jetpack's even being launched. Descara trying everything he can do, but I don't think there's a way for him to stop this push. Eco from Descara just ravaged here. One support cruiser remains, but he will be killed pretty shortly here, I imagine. The missile barrage to boot. That's nice. Carrier is the last unit left on the field. At this point, Descara will let us see it, but it is going to be over. Even assault railguns getting committed in here, not like they can do much good anywhere else on the field. But with 100 power in the armor, you got to imagine they're not going to do much. Holy goodness. Or 5 power in the armor, that is. Yeah, I mean, what it means is that they do 1 damage per shot, so... Descara can turtle for a surprising length here, but it will be over. A-Game getting all the mining and Descara getting none of it. Of course, you expect to see you block at this stage of the game. I'd actually retire this production cruiser, I think. Because I don't think A-Game's going to really be able to produce 3 at a time here. He's got a huge bank of RUs, you know. But... Oh, you should transition into air, shouldn't he? I mean, really what he should do is just what he's doing. This is a finished game, but... Descara gonna stick it, though. I have a feeling, you know, he's playing for the tournament. He's gonna do everything he can before he gives up, but you can see, I assume, it's not gonna go anywhere from here. Check out the rail counts now. It's, 14-0. If I were A-Game at this point, I'd start like making missile ships and then see if I can kill him with like a missile ship barrage. But probably that's not a wise move. And yet I would do it. Descara prioritizing CUs, as you can see. Let's look at the carnage on this side of the field, by the way. It's crazy. This area, like, untouched. I mean, that tells the whole story, really. A-Game's been the attacker for this entire game here. Moment of silence for our brave heroes. Well, there you have it, folks. Kharak Cup 12 is finished, and AGameAnx is going to be your victor. And what a great series it was. I mean, I think this tournament has been really interesting. Lots of interesting builds and plays being used, but I think this series here brought us exactly what we wanted to see in a Kharak Cup, which was just some classic vanilla DOK action. And it really almost could not have been better. Hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. But I'll catch you next time.